You may be wondering, like me, can stand-up desks make you healthier and more productive? Are they worth the price? And can they give you six-pack abs and buns of steel that women will find irresistible? These are the burning questions I've had for years about stand-up desks, so decided to give one a go. Unfortunately, looking at the research on whether standing or sitting is the best way to go for productivity and health, reports were conflicting. For every study that shows that standing is good, there's one that says standing is bad. I'm still waiting for that study on six-pack abs and buns of steel, but I live in hope. So in reality, it's down to you, or in this case, me, to find out what works best and to see if a standing desk will actually help. But in order to do so, I've got to get one, because this isn't one of them. Aha, there it is. So I've gone for the Flexispot E7 Pro Standup desk. The reason is it's got a number of different colors that you can select depending on your decor, and also different sizes as well depending on the size of the office or room that you're in. But the main reason I went for the E7 Pro is because of this. And then this. The E7 Pro comes with 4 memory settings that you can use for sitting and standing. So let's put this bad boy to work. So to get the most out of my stand-up desk, or more accurately a sit-stand desk, I hopped on the Googles to find out what the best practices were. Because I'm not the first one to use one, and someone else has done all the work for me. First up, I looked at how long was best to stand at the desk on a daily basis. It is advised to stand for 5 to 15 minutes for every hour that you're sitting down working. So since my day varies, I decided I would give 1 hour a go and then work from there. Next, I looked at when was actually the best time of day to stand at the desk. One study I found talked about how it's good to stand after eating, which helps curb blood sugar levels. Since this can help in fat loss in some cases or maintaining a healthy body fat level, I decided this was a good thing to do. Another study showed that standing desks can help with maintaining energy levels and concentration. I know I'm a morning person and my energy dips in the afternoon. So both of these studies tied in perfectly for me standing after eating lunch. So that was an easy test to see how it would affect my energy levels in the afternoon. Next up was to look at what tasks specifically standing was best suited to. I first looked at what tasks I specifically wanted to sit down and do, which were predominantly the creative ones, like video editing, writing scripts, and design and stuff like that. I could later test these tasks standing and what effect standing would have on them. Then I looked at research and coming up with content ideas and decided that this could be a good place to start standing up. They don't require lots of brain energy, so I could start there. There are a number of tasks that I typically leave till the afternoon that don't require a lot of creative energy, which I could also do standing too, including emails, messaging, and stuff like that. Now, as well as the possible productivity benefits of a standing desk, another reason I wanted to get one was to get my camera set up off the floor. My camera was on a tripod, my light was on a light stand, I had cables all over the place, and it was a nightmare. Whenever I would go around my desk, I'd either hit the tripod, hit the light stand, or trip over cables. So I wanted to have a setup that took everything off the floor and made it clutter free. And this is what I've got. I'm using a 4-arm monitor stand. So I've got my light on one arm, I've got my camera on another, and I'm also using an iPhone on another arm for a second camera for shooting. This gives me the freedom to set up my camera however I want, leave it there, and I have no fear of knocking it anytime I go past. And Flexispot's socket add-on is great for this, as I can have my plugs on the desk, so no matter what height I have the desk at, so I know I'm not pulling on cables and causing damage to the equipment. So over 30 days I've tested this Flexispot E7 Pro, and this is what I found. Using the standing function after lunch, for me, did make a difference. It was a bit weird at first because it's new, but after a few days, my body did get used to it. There were a few days that I didn't stand, but that's because I had a heavy legs workout the day before and my calves needed the rest. But there was one task that I was doing that I found it definitely didn't work with, as well as some unexpected benefits, which I'll come to in a minute. Because I was putting all my energy into the creative parts of my brain, I found it better to sit down rather than using energy standing up. I do get up and move around when I'm working on complex thoughts and complex ideas, so I didn't feel the need to have to stand up. Standing in the evening when I was doing admin tasks and emails definitely helped. It made sure I didn't have to stand up longer than I needed to, and I got them done a lot quicker than I normally would. So what are the pros and cons of the sit-stand desk, and even some unexpected benefits? Firstly, the pros. Having the flexibility to be able to sit or stand at your desk definitely helped with avoiding slouching or bad posture, especially if you're working at your desk for 8, 10 or even up to 12 hours per day like I do. Standing at the desk in the afternoon does work best for me, being a morning person, and it also helps with curbing that sugar spike in the afternoon, which will have long-term benefits, especially for those six-pack abs and buns of steel. However, my camera set up here on the desk as opposed to on the floor has great benefits too. It means that no matter whether I'm sitting or standing, my camera is at eye level and I can film in any position. I can sit seated like this and be nice and relaxed, or if I need to be a bit more animated, I can do it standing. Another pro for me is that with this desk, it's a lot tidier than my previous setup. With less clutter in here, the energy feels better and I actually feel more productive. Because this E7 Pro comes in a number of different styles, sizes and configurations, it was easy for me to find one that works for me in my particular office that suited what I was looking for. And with the height adjustment going from 50.6 inches all the way down to just 25 inches, that means when your 4'8" girlfriend comes round, even she can use it. And what are the cons? Well, as with anything that has value, it doesn't come cheap. There are cheap options out there, but if you want a quality desk, you'll pay that bit more. As with everything, you get what you pay for. I did get a few add-ons for the E7 Pro because they work for me, which increased the price even more. But I do know that Flexispot do run promotions, so check the description below to see if there's one happening right now. Another con was that I didn't stand every day, as well as having sore legs after a leg workout. There were some days that I was just tired and didn't want to stand at all. One unexpected and surprising con that came up was when I was on Zoom calls. I found that my mind began to wander when I was standing on these calls. Firstly, I thought it was a one-off, but I actually did it a number of times. So I chose not to do calls standing up because I wanted to be present with my clients. There are actually some unexpected benefits of this desk too. Because the cables are off the floor, cleaning in the office became a lot easier. Because of the cable management with this desk, things are a lot tidier, which has actually freed up some mind space. As I mentioned earlier, it's also forced me to set up the cameras in the way I've wanted here, which I've been wanting to do for years. Setup of the desk was also easy too. All the tools needed came in the box, which means I didn't need to turn into Bob the Builder and get my armory of tools out. Another unexpected benefit is even though the desk is actually bigger than what I've had before, it feels like I've got even more room in my office. The setup has forced me to be tidier on my desk and in the office in general, and makes it a lot easier to maintain that on a daily basis. With a lot less junk and clutter, it does feel like my productivity has gone up. To me, this sit-stand desk has given me an extra 30 minutes productivity per day. Now that might not seem a lot, but that's about 2.5 hours per week, which is probably a project. And over the course of a year, that's roughly 125 hours, which could mean over 3 extra weeks of work. And that's huge! Before I get semi-naked and run down a busy street to see how many women want to caress my six-pack abs and buns of steel, there is a morning routine that could make you even more productive. To find out if it'd work for you in the real world, watch this video here.